you do not think twice before getting on a plane and flying to your next destination. There is no denying that air travel has come a long way, and the aviation industry's ongoing efforts have made it more convenient and safe. However, there have been some dangerous moments in aviation history that have prompted experts to reconsider safety and ensure better advancements in airplanes. Can you imagine the intensity of a plane crash? Imagine a major catastrophe that could result from a mid-air collision, onboard fires, or even small technical mistakes. Yes, it sounds like a thriller, but we will walk you through some of the most disturbing airplane accidents that changed the face of the aviation industry and prompted calls to improve air safety standards. Join us as we explore the challenges faced by crews in the face of tragedy. Let's dive straight into the deadliest plane accidents in recent history. Number 1. Turkish plane crash. Let's rewind to March 3rd, 1974, when Turkish Airlines Flight 981 had a really bad day. The plane, a Douglas DC-10, was flying from Istanbul to London with a stop in Paris. The first part of the trip was fine, but things took a scary turn during the second leg. The plane was over Mo, not too far into the journey, and suddenly the back door flew off. You can only imagine what happened next. It was the beginning of a huge problem because it made the inside of the plane lose pressure. A big part of the plane above the door also got ripped away, taking 6 people with it. But that's not all. The pilots couldn't control the plane anymore. They couldn't use the rudder, elevator, and one of the engines. So the nose of the plane went down, and within just 77 seconds, it crashed into the Ermenonville forest. It was a terrible situation, and the crash was so fast and hard that the plane broke into many, many pieces. Sadly, everyone on board, including 11 crew members and 335 passengers, didn't make it. The crash was a disaster. After much investigation, they found out that the back door had a problem in its design, and the people on the ground who were supposed to make sure everything was okay before takeoff missed something important. The door wasn't locked properly, and when the plane got higher up, the door just flew open. On that day, Turkish Airlines didn't have the right person on the ground to check things, and they were rushing through the training for the DC-10. The people who made the plane, Douglas, also knew about the door problem, but didn't fix it after a similar issue before. This crash was the worst for more than 10 years until another one happened. It made them change the DC-10 to make sure this kind of thing wouldn't happen again. Number 2. Nepal plane crash. A year ago, a Yeti Airlines flight was making its way from Kathmandu to the picturesque city of Pokhara, a hub for both religious pilgrims and trekkers. Little did anyone know, this journey would turn into one of Nepal's most tragic aviation incidents in 3 decades. As the plane descended for landing on that fateful day, the pilots, in a moment that changed everything, pulled the wrong lever. This innocent mistake, turning the condition levers to the feathered position instead of the flap lever, set off a catastrophic chain of events. The engines, which control the power of the aircraft, ended up in a state that rendered them idle, offering no thrust. Budisagar Lamichane, another member of the investigation team, pointed out that technically the plane was fine, but a simple, wrong lever pulled in the cockpit caused it to stall and eventually crash. What's even more unsettling is the broader issue that this heartbreaking incident brought to light. The investigation highlighted a lack of standard operating procedures and awareness among the pilots. It's worth noting that Nepali Airlines had been banned from the European Union airspace since 2013 due to safety concerns. So, in the aftermath of this devastating crash, it's not just about mourning the lives lost, but also reflecting on the need for better training, awareness, and procedures to ensure such heart-wrenching accidents don't happen again. Number 3. Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 crash. Picture a regular flight from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur, carrying 283 passengers of various nationalities. On July 17, 2014, MH17, a Boeing 777-200, flew over conflict-ridden eastern Ukraine. Following a recent military plane downing, MH17 adhered to a set altitude restriction. Suddenly, communication ceased around 1320 UTC. Witnesses reported an explosion, leading to wreckage scattered over separatist-held territory. The investigation, delayed by armed conflict, revealed a radar-guided missile launched from a Buk system caused the tragedy. Despite denials, in 2019, Dutch prosecutors charged 4 individuals linked to the Russian-backed military operation. Prominent among them was Igor Girkin, a former Russian Federal Security Service colonel. In November 2022, a Dutch court found Girkin and 2 others guilty of murder, tracing the missile launcher and act to Russian-led troops in Russian-controlled territory. This heartbreaking incident underscores the devastating impact of conflict and the pursuit of justice amid profound loss. Number 4. Air India Flight 182 Disaster. On June 23, 1985, a day that would be etched in tragedy, an Air India Flight 182, en route from Toronto to London and then Bombay, vanished off the coast of Ireland, taking the lives of all 329 people on board. The routine stop in Montreal, where suspicious packages were removed, didn't prepare anyone for what followed. As the flight communicated with Heathrow Airport's tower just 45 minutes from its destination, the unimaginable occurred. The jet disintegrated mid-air. No warnings, no distress calls, only a heart-wrenching disappearance from radar screens. Amid the debris scattered in the sea, rescuers found just 131 bodies. The suspected cause? Sikh extremists planting a bomb, fueled by the violent civil unrest between Sikh and Hindu factions in early 80s India. Months later, 2 arrests were made, with Talwinder Singh Parmar believed to be the mastermind. However, charges were dropped and he met his end in India at the hands of the police. Another suspect, Inderjit Singh Rayat, pleaded guilty to manslaughter in 2003, previously serving time for a bomb-related incident in Japan. The investigation revealed a series of errors, notably the failure of Canadian intelligence and security agencies to share crucial information. In 2010, a 5-volume report concluded that the disaster was a result of these cascading errors. Air India Flight 182 stands as a stark reminder of how tragic events can be influenced by a series of mistakes and a failure to communicate, leaving families shattered and justice elusive. Number 5. Japan Airlines Flight 123 crash on August 12, 1985 in southern Guma Prefecture, northwest of Tokyo. Japan Airlines Flight 123, a Boeing 747 fully booked with 520 passengers, embarked on a domestic journey from Tokyo to Osaka. It was the eve of the Japanese holiday Bon, and the excitement filled the air. The flight had left Tokyo and reached an altitude of 24,000 feet when distress calls pierced through the comm. The pilot reported losing altitude and struggling to control the plane. Panic set in as the plane descended to 10,000 feet, and the pilot desperately sought rerouting to Tokyo Airport. Tragically, about 45 minutes after takeoff, the plane crashed into Mount Takamagahara near Mount Osutaka, later known as the crash site. The remote and treacherous location made rescue attempts challenging. It took 14 agonizing hours for emergency crews to reach the scene. Paratroopers descended from helicopters, and some volunteers navigated on foot. Out of the 524 souls on board, only 4 survived. The missing tail fin, weakened by frequent landings and takeoffs, was identified as the cause. Remarkably, the pilot, despite the odds, kept the damaged plane in the air for almost half an hour after reporting difficulties. Japan Airlines Flight 123 remains etched in history as one of the deadliest single-plane crashes, a poignant reminder of how swiftly joyous moments can turn into heart-wrenching tragedies in the vast skies. As we reflect on these aviation tragedies, it's a somber reminder of the fragility of life in the skies. Each story unveils the resilience of crews facing unimaginable challenges. If you found these stories compelling, share your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button, and if you want more gripping stories, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Until next time, safe travels to all.